Hey, your viewers and viewers, my name is John Red Strategist and welcome back to Anomalous Crossing Shibuya, which is going to get straight into the game. So, as promised, we are going to do a second episode at the very least of this in order to try and actually beat it. Most of the anomalies in this game that we saw obviously in the first episode are fairly sort of obvious. I think there was only like one or two instances in the last episode where we had anomalies that I just didn't really notice or pick up on, that kind of thing. So, yeah, as you can see, it's reset us back to the beginning, but that's fine. So, this, according to the board up here, this should be the safe run through this one. So we should just be able to skedaddle on across the crossing and see what the deal is over there. Oh yes, look at old dude over here. How you doing, dude? Still wondering why it's so quiet out here, eh? Right, so let's get through here and then get into the loops proper. So we have to go through 15 and hope that we don't balls up. Right, no one's there, we're fine. 15 please. There we go. Right, time to get moving. So we know what sort of anomalies can occur in this game, and I am wondering, will we get any repeats? Not that necessarily we would, because so far the game has not given us any repeats, at least it didn't in the last episode and all that, so I'm going to assume that whatever may happen, we might get some new ones in this episode and all that. Dude's still there waiting for his moment. Sign's still normal. Nobody here inside the weird little train carriage. Shibuya, he's same as ever, that's good. No train up there on top of that walkway by the looks of it. Right, you're there. Fantastic. Start moving, buddy? Yeah. He gon' start moving. 109, that tower over there is normal. In fact, one thing I didn't do, and I've just realised I didn't do it, so on that tower that has the 109 on it, as you can see, there's, further down the tower, there appears to be 6 windows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You don't suppose that could be an anomaly in terms of sometimes maybe there's a differing number of windows or whatever? I feel like that could be something that happens at some point. It feels like surely that's an easy one that the devs could program in and all that. I mean, in the meantime, this all looks relatively normal as far as I can tell. Manhole covers are in the usual position, that's in the usual position. That up there is normal as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, is this... I was going to say, is this a safe run, but what if actually the number of windows up there is now different? Because I get this strong feeling, and I can't say this for certain, but I have this strong feeling that in one of the previous run-throughs, when we looked at that building, there might have been a fewer number of windows. Possibly, but I don't know. I could be talking out of my backside, potentially. Who knows? Alright, well, I'm going to assume no anomalies, because I didn't see anything that looked out of the ordinary there, assuming 6 windows is normal. There was something out of the ordinary there. Shit! We're still on 15. That is a problem. Right, 4. That's all normal there. Posters, all normal. All normal. Kuma! Monty Mole? He's still fine as ever. Thank God. Train's still up there. Clock tower's still there. So, was it that building over there that was the problem, or was there something else? Ginza line. Yeah, the pictures up there, they're pretty normal, aren't they? Should also make a note of this mural on this wall. Sort of the rainbow with all the weird shapes in front of it. Maybe there's something there, you never know. Little train interior. Seems fine. I feel like at some point, sure, there's got to be something involving this thing. Because we know we can get anomalies in the opening station area itself. The Shiba Inu is golden. Okay. Dude's going to start walking. He looks pretty normal. There's definitely 6 windows on that tower over there. So what did I miss just a moment ago? What did I not see? Was it one of the traffic lights or something? Because normally they're all red except for the ones, the pedestrian lights on the crossing itself. So maybe... Oh god, I feel like, you know, there could be one where just one of them is different and I would never notice. I mean, then again, this could be a clear one. Because whatever I'm not seeing could have been very, very subtle. That's the issue. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've been actually looking forward to playing this game, though. Again, I don't know why. Even though it is, I don't know, it looks very budget in its production, just judging by the graphics. I do kind of like it. It's kind of unique. It's got its own little vibe to it. I enjoy it. So, like I say, that's why I've been looking forward to playing more of it. And like I said, as I said in the previous episode, I don't think there is really a story in this game, but I think it is just fun for what it is, I guess, right? Was that clear, that one? That was clear, okay. We're fine. We're safe. Right, ticket machines. Or normal. You're up there. No Peanut-Kuma about to come running out at me. Those posters, they're all fine. Kid's still about to be knocked down by a car. Yeah, that's the same. Mural's the same. Monty Mole is different. His eyes have been scrubbed out. Okay, well, just as well I looked at that then, ladies and gentlemen. See, that's a real tiny little detail that you could very easily miss. Right, well, don't even need to really think about that much more, do we? Monty Mole. We knew something was going to happen with him eventually. Alright, just going to completely ignore that guy. I'm on a Monty Mole quest to register that something was different about him. You know, speaking of obviously Monty Mole, thinking about Mario, need to fire up my old Nintendo Switch again sometime soon. Play some more Super Mario Maker 2 and all that. I've actually made myself a few levels in Super Mario Maker 2, only about 4 of them, and admittedly a couple of them are basically the same level, just slightly different versions of it. But yeah, I was kind of enjoying it actually when I was playing it. It's pretty fun. Thing is though, I need to sort out my Nintendo Switch Online subscription, because the problem is with Super Mario Maker 2, you actually have to be subscribed to, and obviously it's a paid service, in order to actually unlock access to everyone else's maps online, so you can just download levels people have created, which is kind of annoying, because I didn't realise that you needed to do that when I bought my Nintendo Switch, but hey, it is what it is. And to be honest, last time I checked, a Nintendo Switch Online subscription doesn't cost that much. It's about 20 quid for the whole year or something, which actually is a pretty decent deal, in all honesty. So I should do that at some point. Still, the thing is though, I need to look into possibility of getting myself a capture card to see if I can try recording some Switch gameplay, potentially uploading it on the channel and all that, because I'd love to do a, you know, maybe like a bonus series of me just playing Super Mario Maker 2 levels, that kind of thing. 6 windows as usual there. Oh. Right, you're differently coloured, because normally you're the same colour as the kid. Again, that's like a real subtle one that you could easily miss, right? Well, that's clearly the anomaly right there then, ladies and gentlemen. I spotted it. You're not fooling me. Thank you. Loop number 13. Or 12, rather. Yep. Sorry, we were on 13 just a moment ago. Good. No sign of Peanut-Kuma. Wonder if he's going to show up again. That particular enemy. I mean, he wasn't exactly very threatening. He just sort of, in one anomaly, flops down on the floor. And then the other one chases you very, very slowly. Have you seen Peanut-Kuma, Monty Mole? I've not. I'm actually recording this episode the day after I recorded the first one. So, you know, I also noted these phone booths. If you look at like the little screen on them, it says international card only and domestic. Yeah, it's the same with that one. I wonder if that ever changes, because that'd be a tiny ass little detail, that would, if it did. But I won't put it past the devs to maybe have something like that. Still no one in this little subway car. Okay, you're fine, Mr. Shiba Inu. Doge. What next? Right, he's walking. Still 6 windows on the 109 tower. No trains mysteriously floating above the walkway over there. No steamrollers. No plethora of manholes with strange dark figures hopping in and out of them. Clock up there looks similar. Picture looks the same. You gonna do anything, buddy? You haven't got like a kick me sign on the back of you? No, you haven't. Oh yes. You used to have that problem a lot in school, didn't you? Those horrible other kids. They would stick that kick me post-it note on the back of you. And you wonder what was going on, wouldn't you? I will confess, in high school, me and a few schoolmates did used to do that to one another. Well, not necessarily that. Not necessarily the kick me sign, but sometimes it would be just, you know, getting a post-it note and writing something like "I am a wanker" on it, and then just secretly pasting it on someone's back. You know, we wouldn't do it to... We're not bullying each other, don't get me wrong. We did it, it was banter between friends, ladies and gentlemen, because people, you know, we used to do it too. We were all friends. We didn't do it to, you know, anyone who we didn't really know, or anyone who didn't deserve it. To put it that way. I know it's going to sound very defensive all of a sudden, what am I doing? Right, looking around here, I don't... Ooh. I never actually looked at these banners before. Whoa. What the fuck? Well, fucking Peanut-Kuma showed up again. Jesus. Good lord, how did I not see that as I came out? Hang on. Okay, well this probably explains why I didn't see it as I came out. Because I was probably looking at it from this angle. The world, rather. Yeah, and he's quite high up. You actually have to look quite high up to see him. Wow. I wonder if I missed that one on a couple of previous occasions. Jesus, Peanut-Kuma, you got suddenly very big, didn't you? So is this guy just like a little mascot for the dev? Or is he actually supposed to be some kind of character? Is there supposed to be some kind of lore here? He's actually moving. His arms and head are actually moving slightly. Okay, well, you know, I don't think it's normal to see that in the skies over Shibuya, last time I checked, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's an anomaly. Nothing behind me. 4 ticket machines. Right, that is the same. Posters are the same. Kumar. Yeah, it all looks pretty much the same. You know, I'm starting to think now about my high school years and all the silly shit that we got up to as teenagers. Always remember when I was in year 7, which, for those of you who are outside the UK and don't know much about the UK education system, year 7 is basically your first year of high school. It's when you're basically 11 years old. So the school I went to, it was in my sort of local town, and it was situated in some nice grounds. It had some woods and fields around it. It was nice, and always remember, of course, you know, if you were one of the bad kids, you'd always go play truant by basically going wandering about in the woods around the school during lesson time. And, you know, if you did that as a kid, oh, you were so badass, basically. I mean, I never did it as a kid because I was a very studious kid overall. But, yes, I remember people like, oh, he's in the woods. He's playing truant. And, you know, it was like, as a kid, you think you're so badass, you know? You think you're so hard. You think you're so tough and cool. The teachers, meanwhile, are just rolling their eyes at you thinking, what a freaking numpty, basically. But yes, that was one of the ways that the more disobedient kids in my high school tried to sort of establish themselves as being real tough and hard and all that. I play truant in the woods during lesson time and all, Which, you know, for some of you out there, if you go to, say, like an inner city school, particularly in a deprived area where there's all kinds of like drug problems and things like that, you're probably listening to that and thinking, wow, really? Is that what the kids in your school thought was the measure of being tough? They wouldn't survive at my school and all that. You're probably right, in all honesty. But yes. I mean, to be honest, when I started, first sort of 3 years or so at my high school, there were some disciplinary problems, because I think discipline standards have been... they've become a bit lax, basically, to put it that way. In fact, my abiding memory, or one of them, of my high school, is actually not when I was at high school, but when I was still in primary school. But I was getting to that age where I was getting closer to the age of 11, and so soon I'd be, you know, graduating primary school, and thus I'd be starting high school. And of course, you know, they took us from primary school to high school for an open day and all that, where we basically have lessons from the high school teachers. And the first thing they did, of course, with me and all the primary school kids who were thinking about going to this high school that we ultimately went to, was they sat us in one of the common rooms. And my first memory of that is that someone had let off a stink bomb, and it absolutely stank to high heaven. It was horrible. So yeah, great first impression of the high school and all that. But to be honest, I imagine people out there have probably had much rougher high schools, where their first impression has been a lot worse. Right, I don't see any anomalies here with this run. Peanut-Kuma is definitely not cosplaying as an airship in the sky. Yeah, is this a safe one? Are we safe here? Oh. Okay, we're not safe. You are an eyeball. Says Captain Obvious. Yes, he is indeed an eyeball. Okay. I'm glad that I just caught that right at the end there. I feel like that could be another one. Oh, that's got an achievement. Anomalies 25%. I think that means, does that mean I found 25% of all total anomalies in this game? If so, that means there must actually be quite a few different types of anomaly then, in that case. Right, well, we're on loop 10. Or rather, we're on loop 5 or 6 out of 15, to put it that way. Imanote, yeah. All fine. Kuma, yeah. Very good. What other crazy memories do I have of my high school years? I always remember in my first year of high school, there was actually a shortage of science teachers. And so, unfortunately for my form group, my science class, we had to have a teacher from a completely different department fill in for our science lessons, which is not very good when you think about it, but hey, it was what it was. And the thing is, this teacher, I actually can still picture him. I can still hear his voice in my head. And the thing about him was, technically I think he was sort of semi-retired, but still did a bit of teaching and like supply teaching and that kind of thing, hence why he was there teaching us. But I remember talking to my dad about him when I was a kid. You know, I had first few lessons with him, and because this guy basically was an older guy. He was quite old, in fact. Sort of very beefy looking man, quite, you know, sturdy, very stern, and quite strict. And basically, you know, if you misbehaved, oh, he would go for you. He'd be on you like a friggin' crazy wolf. What are you doing? Yeah. And yeah, so I was mentioning this teacher to my dad back in the day, and my dad was like, "Oh, that guy. Yeah, he taught me when I was there at that high school." Oh God. So yeah, this teacher has been in teaching for God knows how long, like 40 years or more. So yeah, I still can picture that guy to this day, and hear his voice in my head. Because my abiding memory is one of my abiding memories of him was in a science class where he was handing out papers for a test, and of course he was putting them face down on the table so he couldn't see them until obviously he then got back to the front of the classroom and instructed everyone to turn the sheets of paper over. But of course, me being a dumb kid and all that, in just like a moment of not even thinking about it, after he put the paper down the table, I just touched it just to pull it closer. And immediately, of course, he was like, "I said don't touch! I said don't touch, boy!" I was like, "Oh shit, yeah, that's right, you did say that." I mean, I didn't say that to him, but that's what I was thinking in my head, basically. So yeah, random little story. I'm trying to think, what other like crazy shenanigans happened in my high school. I think I always remember, I think it was year 10, so sort of penultimate year of high school when I was about 15 years old. I was ill one day, and unfortunately for me, that was the day when something exciting actually happened at school. The chemistry teacher apparently managed to set fire to one of the workbenches in the classroom, and they had to evacuate the science block or something. Of course, I was ill, so I missed out on the excitement, ladies and gentlemen, which sucked real bad. Right. I don't see anything unusual on this loop. Not so far, anyway. Yeah. Is this a safe one, do we think? Are we golden? I'm going to hope that we're golden, ladies and gentlemen. Yep, he's not an eyeball anymore. Very good. There's nothing with the poles, is there? That hold up the banner? No. Vending machines all look fine as usual. Okay, it's fine, it's fine. Are we golden on this loop? I feel like we might be, but, you know, I've said that before and then missed stuff. Is Peanut-Kuma back in the sky anywhere? Cosplaying as a Zeppelin once again? I don't think he is. Okay, that's good. Do you suppose it could be an anomaly where old Peanut-Kuma is just somewhere in the distance? Say, like, around a corner somewhere peeking out at you? Because we've had a few with him so far. But then again, I don't see any sign of him, if he is around somewhere. No, I think we're golden. Okay, right. He's still there looking at Doge. That's fine. Well, in that case, let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to say no anomalies on this run. But you know what, I'm going to keep talking about my high school years, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm on a roll now. I mean, I talked about my high school years sometimes in Surrey being 100 episodes and all that, but trying to think, like, other teachers who I remember for various reasons. I always remember my... oh yeah, that was correct. There was no anomaly. Good. I always remember my English language teacher, who I had for quite a few years, because I was in the top set, I was, for English language. I was a model student in that subject. And, yeah, I can still picture her to this day, probably because, you know, I did like her classes. She was a funny teacher, though. She sometimes was a bit odd, but a bit peculiar. But having said that, she was nice. She was a nice teacher overall. So I do remember her fondly. And, so I can remember her. Who else do I remember? I remember this one science teacher that there was in the science block. He was ginger. And he was very obsessed with his guitar. And I always remember he always had his guitar propped up in a corner of the classroom, close to where he sat. And he would start strumming his guitar at very inopportune times. Basically, you know, we'd be in the middle of a little written test or something, writing an essay or whatever, and suddenly you just hear a few guitar notes coming from the front of the classroom. You'd be like, well, that's all very well and nice, sir, but do you have to do that now when we're trying to concentrate? He was a good teacher, though, overall, don't get me wrong. I do remember him as a good teacher. But, who else was there? I'm trying to think, were there any really bad teachers? One, two... Oh, wait a minute. That manhole cover has been removed. Is there someone hiding under there? Hello? Oh, Peanut-Kuma, I saw you. Peanut-Kuma. He's in there. He's lurking. He's waiting for me. Time to get on out of here, I do think, ladies and gentlemen, before he pops up out of the friggin' manhole. Okay, yeah, through here then. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Any teachers who I remember who were just kind of shit? I do remember one from Year 8, music, who I may have talked about before in some of my Surrey Being Hunted episodes. Again, I'm not going to name names because I feel like that's just a bit shitty. But I can still picture him to this day. He was an older guy, glasses, sort of greying hair. And he was, basically when it came to discipline, he was useless. He was incapable of controlling the classroom. And basically I just remember that whole year of music lessons where he was basically filling in. Because basically he was a supply teacher. And because in essence the regular music teacher Wait, has the dude disappeared? Oh, it's this one again, with all the manholes. Okay, so we are now getting repeats by the looks of it. Yeah, as I was saying, basically this supply music teacher who we had, I don't know why I'm looking, we know what the anomaly is. Yeah, so he was covering for a member of staff who was on maternity leave, the regular music teacher, because she was off, like I say, on maternity leave and all that. And so he filled in, and he was fucking useless. Oh, wait. Oh, this is not the same. Ooh. Oh, this is a lot of Peanut-Kumas. Oh, hey, guys. Look at you all. Never mind, this is not a repeat anomaly. This is a completely different one, technically. I feel like if I touch these guys, they are going to kill me. Where do I want to go? Over here? Eesh. They sort of Mexican wave their way out of these, don't they? That's the thing. I've got... Oh! Right, we're through. I'm curious. What is the deal with them? Because Peanut-Kuma has freaking appeared in this several times now. Maybe there is a story to this. To this, you know, loop that we're trapped in. But yeah, this music teacher, it was terrible. Basically, in short, is what I'm telling you. He could not control the classroom, and we just basically dossed around for that whole year. I mean, some of us, like, you know, not to sound like I'm a bit of a swotty student, but some of us did try to learn, you know, the more well-behaved kids, but, you know, the other kids who were just dossing around, it makes it impossible, because obviously they're just disrupting the lesson completely. And the problem for him was that back in the first couple of years of my high school, the maths and music classes were situated in, well, basically in my high school, there used to be this, basically obviously there's numerous blocks, buildings that made up the campus, and the block where they held maths and music classes was in this separate building that was actually kind of like a short distance away from the rest of the campus. It was like this old Victorian house that had been clearly bought out by the school at some point and basically repurposed into a section of the school. And as a result, you know, it was like the maths and music departments were basically sort of in their own bubble away from, you know, the rest of the campus. And when I say the music classes, basically there was only one music classroom. And the thing about this old Victorian house was, you know, this wasn't just a tiny house. It had at one point been, I guess, not the biggest of stately homes, but it had been sort of a stately house, because around the back of it, or rather I should say around to one side of it, it had an old stable block, and literally what was a kind of old brick sort of lean-to coach house kind of thing, where they would have probably put carriages and things like that back in the 1900s, not the 1900s, the 1800s or whenever. So basically, the music classroom, in order to get into it, what you had to do was you had to go round at the side of the maths block to where this old, presumably Victorian stable block or whatever it was located. I say Victorian, it might have been even older than that for all I know. It's just when I picture the shape of the building, it feels more like a Victorian kind of architecture to it, with like big sort of bow or bay windows along the front, which I feel like is more of a Victorian thing here in the UK, rather than necessarily a pre-Victorian thing. But having said that, like I say, for all I know, it may have been older than that. Sorry, that was a garbled sentence. It may have been older than that. It may have been like, I don't know, late 18th century, or like Regency era, something like that, for all I know. But yeah, so to get to the music classroom, you basically had to go into what was the old coach house bit, just opposite the old stable block. And at the back of this coach house bit, there was this really rickety old wooden staircase that sort of ran up to a door on one corner. And so you climb up there, then there'd be like this little cloakroom thing, and then the music classroom, and then like a teacher's office just beyond it, which the music teacher uses. So yeah, if you were the music teacher back in that day, you were kind of isolated in a way, because there were no other teachers or classrooms near you. So I guess if you were the music teacher, basically you had to make sure you were good at maintaining discipline, because otherwise you were kind of on your own, isolated with a bunch of teenagers, many of whom quite possibly don't want to be there, and just want to doss around, in essence. So, yes, ladies and gentlemen, the joys of being the music teacher at my old high school. But the thing is, once I think we got to about, I think it was year 9, so about halfway through my time at high school, my high school basically invested in building an entirely new maths and music block. In fact, 2 separate blocks. A performing arts block where obviously music and drama would go, and then an actual maths block. So for a good chunk of my high school years, the high school was a bit of a building site. But by the time I got to year 11, final year of high school, that construction was complete, so I did get to see what the end result of all that was. Wait. Fuck. Why is there the sound of a train here? That's not normal. Well, that's clearly got to be an anomaly, an auditory one. How strange. Oh! It's a freaking tiny little train set! How adorable! God, I didn't even notice that going on the floor. Thank God I heard that, ladies and gentlemen. Aren't you lovely? You see, I actually feel like that one you could very easily miss, if you don't look down at your feet and all. There it goes, underneath the construction wall. Alright, well there's your anomaly right there, ladies and gentlemen. Through we go. 6. Okay, we are getting there. We haven't failed yet so far, but I should be careful not to jinx myself. Let's see. Posters normal. Everything looks fairly normal here. Kumar? Peanut-Kuma? You back again? Cosplaying a Zeppelin once more, or anything like that? No? All looks normal. Monty Mole normal. Very good. So, getting back to the topic I was talking about, my high school and all that. Yeah, so eventually they created a new maths block and a new music, performing arts block, which was good. And then the old maths and music block, that old Victorian era house and stable block, that was basically sold off to a private developer, and it was basically separated off from the school grounds. And to this day, I think it was just converted into apartments, which probably was, you know, the best outcome for it, because like I say, it was an old building. Thing is though, as you can imagine, like any old building though, it was supposed to be haunted. That old house that once housed the mathematics and music classrooms. There was supposed to be like a ghost that haunted the basement of it or something. I mean, you know, that's what all the kids said. Never saw any evidence of that myself, because I've always been a skeptic of ghosts and that kind of thing. Yeah, I'm not a believer in paranormal stuff, ladies and gentlemen. I love horror, don't get me wrong, and supernatural horror can be fun, but I don't believe in it in real life. I'm a fan, actually, sometimes of watching, what's his name? John Wolfe, here on YouTube, who sometimes does, you know, debunking videos, where, you know, he looks at viral videos that purport to show ghosts and paranormal events that people have encountered and recorded, and he systematically just deconstructs them and says, this is clearly not a paranormal event. There's any number of explanations that could potentially be fielded for this, including that you are making this whole thing as a hoax. And, you know, he does a great job of deconstructing them, and he's really fun to watch. Well worth a watch here on YouTube if you're interested in that kind of thing. I think he's just going to head off back to the Doge statue, isn't he? I don't see anything immediately unusual around here. You know, I never looked at that there, this weird little stone thing. You don't suppose there's supposed to be text or something on that? You don't suppose it's meant to be a sign, do you? And that normally there'd be text on it? I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to check that on the next loop or something. Because it's blank now, but does it still stay blank when we go through again? Who knows? Right, everything looks normal-ish for the moment. No sign of Peanut-Kuma. He's just not knocking around by the looks of it. What's the banner look like? Centre Street. Centre Street. Normal. Okay. Is this a safe one? I think it possibly is, because I haven't seen anything. Unless anything's going to appear here. Because evidently, something can actually appear in this area, judging by that little tiny train set that spawned in here. Don't know if I trust it or not. See, I've never looked closely at this thing, because obviously it was an eye a moment ago, but does it always look like this? Sort of like a weird metal sphere with openings in it, kind of like it's a basketball or something. Okay. No, I don't see anything out of the ordinary. Not that I can tell, anyway. Is it a little golden butterfly? Yeah. Oh. Wait a minute. There definitely weren't always butterflies on that, were there? That... Okay. It's just as well I came back to look at that, because otherwise I would have skedaddled right on past that. Yeah, because that's definitely never been a thing previously. I don't think I've ever seen that. I feel like I would have picked up on that if that had been a thing previously. Right, that's got to be an anomaly. And... yeah, we did. We succeeded. That was indeed an anomaly, ladies and gentlemen. Right, so we are now... yeah, we've done about 10 loops, which is good. Only 5 more to go. Can we keep up our win streak here? That is the question. Posters normal. Normal. As far as I can tell. Anti-mole. Signs up there. Yep. And yep. Okay, all looks pretty normal down there, doesn't it? Okay. Very good, very good. Anyone in here? Or anything? Still just the wet floor sign, but nothing else. Yeah, we had nothing with this thing so far. Just makes me feel like maybe there is just, you know, a one-off really rare event that can happen concerning that thing. I don't know. Shibuya, you're good. Let's have a look around here at this sign. Is it actually... yeah, okay, so it's blank by default. Right. Red as usual. Dude is moving towards us. 109 still has 6 windows. What you doing there, buddy? Anything to say? No? No? Okay. There's me tempting fate by walking over the manhole. Fortunately, Peanut-Kuma did not come busting out like some sort of friggin' trapdoor spider. I gotcha. I gotcha, boy. Come down into my creepy little Peanut-Kuma hole. Right. Yeah, look. Definitely no butterflies by default. He's still wandering away over there, isn't he? To his usual position. Never really looked at that thing over there before. A little hut. I think that was always there, wasn't it? Guess it's supposed to be like a subway entrance. As is that one over there. It probably was always there. I feel like it probably was, but... right, so I don't see anything off or unusual here. We might be fine, unless something happens. Okay, yes, that's definitely like a basketball design, that thing. Centre Street. Centre Street. Was that always a hole on that side of the banner? Huh. Because on that side it's got like a basketball, but on that side... oh, that's weird. It's cut out. Was that always like that? I don't know if that was always like that. Crap. Was it always like that? I don't think it was. I think that's changed. I'm going to say that's an anomaly, but I'm not 100% certain. That's the issue. Alright, I'm going to lock my answer in and say yes, and I'm probably going to screw this up. It's going to set me back 7 if I've screwed this up. No, it was. Oh, thank God. I did get that correct. Okay. For now, my winning streak continues. Good. No Peanut-Kuma over here? Nope. Very good. Monty Mole? You're fine. Guys waiting by the looks of it over on the other side of the crossing. They're all fine. I don't know, would we ever get an anomaly with the phone booths? I feel like surely there would be at some point, right? If you go near to them and suddenly they start ringing or something. Or maybe on one anomaly there's just a person standing by them or something. Something like that. You never know. Ginza line. Wait, is that mural the same? Yeah, it is. Thought for a second it wasn't. Nobody in there. Shibuya looks pretty normal, doesn't he? Everything looks pretty normal. For now. Alright, you've started moving. That's good. That's very good. What's the time up there? Still sort of 1 o'clock, according to that. Strolling along normally, buddy. Okay. Good for you. What am I potentially not seeing? 6 windows on the 109 tower. That's fine. Definitely nothing unusual at the moment. Oh! Never mind! Peanut-Kuma's up there. What are you doing up there, Sonny? God, yeah. Oof. That's another one I could have very easily missed. What's he doing? He's just hanging out on top of the building, apparently. He's decided he's had enough of spooking me for the moment. Okay. Clear. Obvious. Message taken. I'm out of here. Oh yeah, look. Because there's definitely a basketball on that side. Yeah, and on that side, so that could out. Yeah. I was correct. Alright, through we go. Number 3, please. Right, come on, fingers crossed. We're doing really well here. Can we get this complete? Hoping we can. 4 ticket machines. That's all normal. Yeah, my commentary here at this point may slack off a bit as I really concentrate. Kuma. Oh. Oh, is that the... That's similar to the other one we had last time, where it's a bunch of additional dudes, but now there's even more of them. Okay, don't even need to look then, do we? We've already spotted the anomaly. Alright, well, what are you guys going to do? You're going to start walking at once? God, look at them. Oh God, some of them are like sliding around all over the place. How weird of them. Oh yeah, and there's just like the odd dude who's wearing a different coloured suit and all that. Oh God, Jesus. Let's not get caught in the middle of them. That was a bit of a risky thing. They could have been, you know, murderous for all I knew. Right, well, are they all just going to mass in front of the friggin' Doe statue? It's just going to be a big phalanx of dudes. Oh God. Yeah, their animation's a bit weird. Oh, and do you notice that the red ones, from a distance, they turn blue again? How weird. Some slight... Well, I was going to say some slight bugs there, maybe, but then again, with these kind of anomaly-style games, you never know, do you? What might actually be... But, oh God. Right, they're also sliding together into each other. They're going off to worship the Shibuya god. Look at them all lining up. It's like they're taking a perfect shape, aren't they? Ugh, weird. Alright guys, you just do your thing. One of you was momentarily stuck. Okay. I'll leave you to worship your god in peace. And I shall henceforth disappear into the next loop. Come on, fingers crossed. We're nearly there. Don't fuck this up now. Give me some obvious anomalies. Or loop-throughs with nothing in them. Nothing there. Should always check this as well in case there's an anomaly. No, just 2 more to exit. Nothing different about that. Kuma. Okay. Oh, hello. Peanut-Kuma's back again. And he's pretty damn obvious. Okay. Well, I'm out of here then, in that case. Oh god, he's actually coming for me. Shit, I need to sprint. Shit, Godzilla's en route. Dude, watch out. Godzilla Peanut-Kuma, he's dangerous. Oh god, he possibly moves a bit faster than I do. That's an issue. Or does he? Oh no, he's going over that way. He's like pushing that guy around down there. Oh god, he's coming back for me again. Let me out of here. Don't want to deal with Peanut-Kuma. See you later. Oh, what the? What's that? Bleeping sound. What the fuck? Well, that's got... Oh! Right, well that's an anomaly straight away. Oh, oh! It's lots of screens out here. Right, well, thank you. I prayed for a decent, obvious anomaly, and you gave me one, ladies and gentlemen. No need to even think about it. We're about to win. God, that's actually... It's not too loud, but it is quite grating on the ears, that. Especially with headphones on, because it's like flicking between different ears, depending on which ones you're passing. And through we go! Another successful one. Oh. Oh. Wait. Do I need to do another loop? A final one? In order to succeed? Oh god. What's going to happen? Also, it's, it's morning, ladies and gentlemen. So... Are we safe? Are we golden? Well, the dude's not there. Oh, and it looks like the street actually goes further back as well. You know what this is actually reminding me of? Do you remember Cry of Fear? The horror game that I played a while back. And you know how most of the game you're running through the city at night, but then later on, after you defeat the crazy doctor in the asylum, suddenly you're in like this country little village and it's actually morning and there's birds tweeting, and that moment where you're suddenly like, this feels unusual. Why is it suddenly so cheery? Yeah, I'm getting that vibe. Well, there's no difference over here. There's like no door, is there? Unless it's going to appear as I get closer to it. Wait. I mean, this... Does this count as an anomaly? It's giving me the option. Oh, fuck. Do I say... I mean, it's obviously, it's different, right? It's different because there's no dude there, it's daytime. So, it's an anomaly, right? Because it's different. Oh no. If I make the wrong decision here, it's going to send me straight back to the fucking beginning. I'm going to have to do it all again. I don't believe it. I'm going to say... I can't tell. No, I'm going to say anomaly, because it's different, right? Oh. Oh no, I can't. I have to go through this one. Okay, thank God it's made the choice for me. Hey, game clear. There we go. And now we have our silent... Well, not silent, but musicless credits. There you go, that was Anomalous crossing Shibuya, ladies and gentlemen. I'm getting some screenshots of the place now being fully occupied with people. People milling around. See, this is what Shibuya crossing normally would be like, with lots of people around. Well, that was decent. I enjoyed that for what it was, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, there are 48 undiscovered anomalies left. Wow, that's a lot of them, actually. So, I got the 25%. I haven't got a 50% though. That's interesting. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that then, ladies and gentlemen. I think we'll wrap up there for this game. I'm not going to do any sort of like follow-on episode where we just try and find other anomalies, because I think we saw a fairly good selection in that playthrough there. So like I say, hope you enjoyed that. So next time, what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is we're going to go on to another anomaly game, Anomalous Railroad Crossing, which I'm pretty sure, as I've said before, is by the same dev who made this one. So, you know, as rough around the edges as this one was in places, I did enjoy it. And so I liked the real life setting of it. I thought that was quite interesting. So I kind of look forward to the railroad crossing one, particularly as, like I said in the last episode, I sometimes watch a few channels like 4K Japan and Virtual Japan, where they just do walking through places like Shibuya and Kamakura. So I'm looking forward to that, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, social media links, propagandist channel link, etc., as usual, are in the video description for anyone interested. If you enjoyed, a like is, of course, always appreciated. But than that, I will see you for Anomalous Railroad Crossing next time. Goodbye, everybody. Right, he's got treasure. Let's just stop talking. Let's just get on with it. We could go right or left. Let's go right. Oh, here he is. This is always one of my favourite boss fights, this was in Rainbow 3. Oh, this was the room he was in with the telescope thing. Okay, stop looking around. Oh god, careful. Shoot him. Oh, careful. Ow. Just freaking hit me. What did he say? God. Ah, no. Okay, is he off? He is. Oh, careful. Got some mines behind. Okay, before I move on to another room, I just want to show you something. See that there? That little thing he's got going on there? I believe that's actually a Easter egg